here with the Aggies from New Mexico State, Depresso, Zulu legend, Inex drummer, and Jivey. And I was looking at the behind the scenes stuff, and there is a wide range of majors here: psychology, genetics, quite a few in computer science. I like the 3D animation and VFX. That's kind of up your alley there, Jeff.
Yeah, I also happen to be a drummer, so there's a lot of correlations there between me and this junior here. Yes, I was a 3D animation major in college. That's what my degree is in. Now I cast video games. Anyway, so yeah, that's NM State. They've struggled a little bit here to start. They've only picked up 2 map wins in their first 4 series. So hoping they can kind of really find their footing today in this rivalry against the University of New Mexico. We saw the Lobos take their first loss last week against Texas A&M. Otherwise, they've been pretty darn flawless, coming in with that 3-1 record you previously mentioned.
Yep, Karama, Keygator, Faraday, Silhouette, and Bozeman will be the lineup here for the Lobos. And like you said, they did take their first loss last week against another Aggie team. So is there going to be an Aggie curse going on here? Or will the Lobos be able to take the in-state rivalry in their favor? We'll take a look at how we're going to get there. We've got a map selection will be standardized throughout the season here, but we'll take a look at how we will get to where we are going. We'll always, of course, start out on Control, and then we'll head to Hybrid and Flashpoint after that.
Down here in the NECC, we do also have a pick and ban system. So your higher St. Lobos got to ban out first Control map, I believe. So New Mexico State get to choose our opening map. And well, now you see it on your screen. It's Antarctic Peninsula. Start things off. Grab your parkas. It's going to get cold.
You know what? I'm kind of disappointed that they banned Samoa. I would really like to be able to cast that map. I'm telling you what, I haven't had a chance to yet. Still trying to figure out all the nicknames. I'm trying to decide if we're going to call it the concierge desks that you come through to get on the point there. But I digress. Antarctica Peninsula. This is one of the newer maps here for Control. Penguins will be shown, or there will be violence. And I love it.
I like that movie. That's a good movie. I like that movie.
Thank you. But I mean, 3 completely separate points, just like any other Control map. You have your brawl composition that works really well on sub level, and then you can go with poke. Some Bastion May strats if you are feeling frisky. Sojourn works very well here. Symmetra actually works very well on Icebreaker, particularly. So it just depends on what the comfort level of these teams are and how they decide to address the map.
Give us a pretty good indication on what these teams like to run. Now, there's not as much variety on Antarctic Peninsula as we saw in our last series. We start off on Lijiang Tower, and you get very different looks, or at least the potential very different looks from the 3 different submaps. I feel like Antarctic Peninsula, the maps have more of a similar quality. Very, very small, confined, actual objective areas for most of these maps. A little bit of high ground to work with around the map at some point, be it, directly over the map like we see in Labs, or it's kind of off to the side there on Icebreaker. So it lends itself to some really good DPS play. Wouldn't surprise me to see, some Sojourns, sitting on that high ground and just raining hell down upon their opponents.
Now, Jeff, you and I have not had a chance to talk since the patch went through, but man, Zenyatta got kicked pretty hard. First real touch to the Omnikiler since, we saw the last big massive changes like in 2019.
That's not entirely true. His Discord orb got nerfed like 9 months ago or something like that, when it went from 25 to 20 or 30 to 25. 25 to 20.
Okay,
that's been the only change. Yeah, it's honestly, I think the healing orb buff is highly slept on. I think if dive does become meta again, being able to keep a healing orb on your tracer for 5 seconds instead of 3 is actually pretty significant, but only in that very specific situation. The Discord orb itself, which is the biggest utility of the Zenyatta kit, definitely took a bit of a hit. But we haven't seen a whole lot of Zen in this meta. It doesn't look like that's going to continue into this matchup. I do like Inex bringing out the Zarya. Zarya is always a fun hero to watch, always indicative of a lot of aggression.
I love when we get a chance to see, especially for me, getting to see these different universities as they, show their identity when they come out the gates. They're running the drummer Ana into it. Ana not played as much nowadays. This biotic field is going to be, or the biotic grenades are going to be huge here as they try to get in. And if they're going up against a Sigma, Zarya, if high charge, can actually walk right past the experimental barrier.
All right, just go in and mow down the back line. And we see already Necc is at 100 charge. Rotating back around to the point, which hasn't even unlocked yet. Deflect used early. You can't stop that photon cannon. Lucio caught in a corner, melted. Bozeman's just a pile of goggles and a pair of skates. Just remain smoldering in the corner while the Lobos fall. Well, they moved on to the point, but they don't have any reinforcements left.
I mean, that is New Mexico State taking the first map win. And I mean, that is exactly what they needed on the back of some seriously good play from Necc, getting that high charge, maintaining it. The support was perfect there. Halfway towards a sound barrier is Jivey, playing the Lucio right now, getting Necc around in and out of those engagements nicely.
Well, I wonder if that's going to continue to be a strategy here from New Mexico State to focus down Bozeman and just win a sound barrier war. I mean, that's certainly an approach. But Bozeman is considerably behind. That could get away from the Lobos if they're not careful. They made overclock, or excuse me, it was Keygator just sliding out, had a full rail charge. Faraday antied, only in a mortality field, keeping him alive through that heavy beam from Necc. Eventually, the healing will come through, but it's been slow and steady, and the Lobos not been able to crack in yet. Kurama tried, just gets greeted by Izulu. Now the sound barrier is up from Jivey, well the hell of what Bozeman could do, and the New Mexico State squad are just going to mow over Lobos with that extra shielding.
I mean, that was decisive. I love the decision to go ahead and pop that early sound barrier, knowing how quickly the Jivey generated it. Now you're looking at, possibly Big Bang here with the Pulse Bomb and the Graviton Surge online, and Keygator's out of the fight.
If the Lobos try to push it in on this, they still have time if they want. Just wait for their reinforcements. Oh, Kurama, be careful, bud. You can't go challenge Zarya like that. You're likely to get melted. Kurama does fall inside of the fence, and Keygator has returned. So the Lobos try to decide how they want to use their ultimates, the Sound Barrier and Ant Matrix most specifically. Looks like Kurama has already moved on to the objective. Ant Matrix aggressively positioned, but here comes the Nano Blade out from Izulu. Chop it through one. Immortality Field has to be used on the back end. Eventually, the Hammer wins the day. But with some reinforcements, NM State still come out on top.
No, the Aggies are playing this absolutely perfectly. I mean, they invest the Nano Blade into that, but now you still have Pulse Bomb for, one of these speedy characters that's going to try and touch. And then Necc can just lock him up with a Graviton Surge.
Oh, what a sleep. And the Grav is going to lock him up. Nobody will touch. Faraday tried to just pin onto the point, but gets slapped right at the doorway. Lobos never got a chance to use that sound barrier, Billy.
I mean, that was pretty well played.
Decisive that was. Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Records be darned. We've got an in-state rivalry here, and the Aggies are not looking like they want to go down to their 5th loss of the season. That was actually pretty well played, and from both from the Aggies side. Lobos looked a little bit sluggish there, if I'm completely honest. And I think the fact that they came out on the Sigma, and they just got completely tanked there on the first sub map.
Well, Lobos making some changes, lots of them coming into this second sub map. As they're going for a more divey DPS line to try to match what Depresso and Izulu brought to the table. Depresso coming out on the legs here to accompany Zulu's Genji.
I don't hate it. It's that good mid-range poke. It provided a decent amount of shock value here onto the point. Oh my god, so low it has to force recall already.
A very consistent damage coming out of a Soldier 76, and even a little bit of healing to boot. Right now, NM State are kind of locked down in their own corner on this side. Faraday eats a Bionade and has to just back on up. Gator trying to harass from the outside, and NM State slowly move their way onto the objective, but not before the Lobos have grabbed the cap. Depresso with a nice shot will find Keygator with that one. Now trying to see if they can melt the other DPS as well. Kurama the focus on everybody here from NM State. That attention turned to Faraday, who's backing him around the corner, and it's Drummer who finds that final blow. The Lobos have first control, but they're not going to be able to hold on to it.
I mean, what great sustain there coming from NM State. And, I mean, the Aggies absolutely turned that fight in their favor. And, yeah, they're going to go ahead and capture at 22%, 23%, my bad. But I mean, look at what Kurama got done there for the Lobos. Despite going down, we have the blade online already. Plus this Kitsune Rush. This is a great initiator for the Lobos.
Yeah, it's a little more confined, as you have to say in one space, but a Fox Blade is still pretty powerful, and indeed, it's exactly what the Lobos trying to do. Kurama just got absolutely stifled, as that blade falls a little flat. Faraday now dead as well. It's a 5v3 on this point. The Lobos invested into this, and all in State had to use their sound barrier.
Oh, the bomb goes out. Oh my god, the pulse bomb there. Kurama. Oh,
okay.
They almost turned that fight on their own. Okay.
I don't know about all that, but it was good. They got 2 of the
flashy.
5. Yeah.
I'm just saying. Every fight starts with a kill. I mean, getting 2
Fair.
right there.
Fair.
It's great. But now, Nano Blade ready to go. You've got the Graviton Surge once again. Jivey is not afraid to hit that sound barrier when they have it available. They are very assertive with usage of it.
Drummer has all the options in the world in front of him. As far as either DPS or the Zarya are great grab targets right now, and it's going to go with the Triton True. El Clasico into the back line. Cuts through Silhouette. Now turn their attention. Get a little revenge on the Faraday from losing that duel in our first sub-map. And then the Nano Blade works out well. Neither team able to hold on to this point so far.
I know it keeps going back and forth. It's like a seesaw. I'm getting a little bit motion sick here. But, once again, it's just 2 ultimates into the fight. You hold on to the tack visor. You're going to wait for Faraday to go down. Shatter could be actually massive here if they can land it when the projected barrier goes out.
Rama narrowly escaping disaster. Faraday looking for that shatter up on the high ground. Get the feeling Inex is waiting for it. Has a bubble in the pocket. There goes the shatter. Inex did not get the bubble out. Sound barrier used with it. A great Bionade from Drummer. And the Graviton Surge is thrown in. What a play from Drummer. Enabling Inex to stay up through the shatter and respond in kind. Massive props to the Yana. And it's the reason NM State are about to take this map. And it's only the 3rd map win of the entire season, Billy.
This doesn't look like an 0-4 team. Holy cow. I think they might get the last second touch. They
Nah.
do not proc the overtime. And that is clean as you like. Good Lord, the Aggies have come to play, Jeff. Cater extreme extraordinaire. We are headed to jolly old England.
It kind of makes sense just from the way the matchup played out on Antarctic Peninsula. So NX coming out with the Zarya. We saw Faraday start on the Sigma, and the Zarya just ripped it apart. Faraday then goes to the Reinhardt for the second sub map. Absolutely, I mean, it has a little bit better success, but still falls a little short when it was all said and done. So it makes sense to go to King's Row. You've already seen what tanks they want to play. Those tanks are popular on King's Row, and NX knows they can beat it already. So I like the choice just for that reason alone.
Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And especially with how good the Ana was playing there, they never seemed to be able to get into the back line. I think that really had to do to Jivey. The Lucio play was actually, chef's kiss. We mentioned the fast generation of the sound barrier. We mentioned the aggressive use of it, but what we didn't mention was how good Jivey was getting the rest of the team around. And really, doing just Lucio things there, and it was fantastic to see. So we'll take a look here and see what the Lobos can do.
Yeah, I think Bozeman is going to have to be a little more careful. I think Bozeman is just an aggressive Lucio in their own right, but New Mexico State read that, and they get picked off, and so I mean that's part of what led to Jivey coming up with these really fast-looking sound barriers. I think a lot of it was just punishment onto the other side.
I mean, you punish mistakes, and I mean 5v5, one loss of a teammate pretty much seals the fight in and of itself. Yeah. Especially the speed. So Silhouette, I liked the Kiriko change. I liked that they were aggressive with the Kitsune Rush. It just seemed like NX had a barrier ready to go to help get the most vulnerable member of their team out of danger, and then they were able to just turn the fight on its head with that high charge. So this is something that's really going to have to be in the back of Faraday's mind is when you do go in, are you counting the bubbles? Are you maintaining that tank wisdom that we all have to have as tank players? It's a very rough time still to play tank here in the current state of the meta. But you know what? I believe that the Lobos do have they do have the wherewithal to be able to get into it. So, I mean, they are 3-1, and that's nothing to sniff at. I mean, the loss came to a Texas A&M team that's really surging right now. So, I mean, on the back of their season so far, I think they're doing pretty darn well.
Really good start for the Lobos. I can't help but wonder if perhaps that loss to Texas A&M is still in the back of their minds. Coming up against a different Crimson Aggie squad here in New Mexico State. Are the mistakes from last week, is the disappointment from last week still haunting them a little bit, and perhaps a reason they're not looking as confident as we're used to seeing this Lobo squad?
I mean, maybe it shattered their confidence. I mean, that could be a knock-on effect here from that loss last week. So,
it's just speculation, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just thoughts that I can't help but acknowledge bouncing around in my noggin. They lost 0-3 last week, and suddenly they don't look as good today. Is that a reason? I don't know. Could be.
I've got a couple answers here. One is that New Mexico State says, "Yeah, I'll match your Reinhardt mirror." Faraday actually flashing us a Sigma. I don't hate that in the slightest. Now, when you've got the two hit scan characters, though, Depress is going to be on the legs. We're going to see Zulu Legend on the Sojourn. So, are they trying to set up this kill box from the dueling high grounds?
Looked like Depresso was on the low ground, but I'd imagine Izulu is indeed up on the high ground with Drummer. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's hard to tell which is which. I think Drummer's actually in the corner and Izulu's up in the window, but Bastion's just going to go right for the back of the hotel. Yeah, if they can mow down the Reinhardt, at least force Necc all the way back through the archway. Look how much space New Mexico State has to give up right now.
Yep, I mean, you've got both the hit scans up there, and Necc actually gets it done on Silhouette, so that is your Baptiste down. That should be the go time for them to recontest.
Yeah, Necc just circles all the way back around through the house, finds the kill onto the Baptiste. Clever play from Necc to not just rest on the laurels of trying to muscle their way back through the archway, but immediately makes the decision to go on the flank, and it works out beautifully.
Yep, absolutely perfect there. They do give up 2 ticks, so that's permanent progress. So we won't be drawing out here potentially. Now it's going to be up to Karama. Perfect wall placement. You want to see that again. You want to make sure the Silhouette is being very careful about their lines of sight as well.
Just Karama throwing down some icicles down low while the rest of the team moves up high. Ooh, looks like, okay, I think they wanted to grab that high ground, but they'll just take the long route up to it. Continuing to circle. The Lobos are going to go all the way into the window. It does force a couple of New Mexico State members to drop down and kind of reconvene behind the hotel. But it's opened up some space around Statue where Izu Legend has circled all the way back around in their own right. Look at it. The shields have kind of flipped directions. Oh, that's an aggressive move there from Drivey, jumping right on top of the Baptiste. Even got the Immortality field out. And it opened up that space as Izulu moves in to clean up what Drivey started.
Aggression. Well-timed and absolutely perfectly played. And they do it in the neutral. Again, that's 2 fights in a row where they've had ultimates ready to go and just did not have to do anything. The rotation was too clean from them. And now you've got this shatter. As soon as that experimental barrier goes down, it's go time.
Mexico State doing such a great job of knowing they've got to keep their distance from that Bastion. Lobos, similar maneuver. No, this high ground's too important. They cannot just let Drummer and Izulu sit up top. Drummer! That was a bold move. Didn't disengage. Decided to take the duel. Kurama wins it. Throws the Blizzard down into Hotel. Tries to take a duel with Izulu, but T-Gator cleans up on the back of the Blizzard with a little help from the Ant Matrix from Silhouette.
This is a broken fight, and yeah, that should do it right there. The speed is gone, and now look at this. Kurama up to Bookstore, looking for an early pick. Drummer is in their sights once again, Jeff.
Very aggressive Ana. Oh, that's not an Ana. That's Necc charging right at you. I love these rotations. I love the decisiveness coming out of New Mexico State. Like, they make a decision and they go for it without hesitation. And that opening pick was so massive. Now NM State can plant their feet right at the archway.
But you've got a rotation going with Silhouette and Key Gator on the side. They're going to have the artillery strike here, and the Flux should lift everybody up. Jivey using that sound barrier puts them at a disadvantage right now.
Just camping up in the window. There's that great flush we're talking about. Got absolutely nothing. Artillery strike doesn't get anything either. Several ults, 2 back-to-back from the Lobos, and they barely even get a health bar down. Now the Shatter Hits 2. Bozeman, fortunately for the Lobos, is able to get the sound barrier off, but still the kills come through. That's a nano. Reinhardt, it's going to take more than a sound barrier to stop Necc.
Necc has just welcomed himself into the lobby once again and is having a wonderful time doing it. That was a great fight turn there. I mean, they devalued 2 ultimates. Now, the first one was a little bit of misaim from Faraday, but the artillery strike, they were anticipating that everybody was going to be caught in the flux, try to drop it on top. That's just unlucky. Build up the next one.
You guys going over to a Soldier 76. Same positioning, just a new hero. Rama making a swap of their own, as is Bozeman. So, I mean, this is actually just a lot of swaps from the Lobos. Everybody making a big change, trying to see if this Winston composition combined with Keygator on the 76 could be the ticket. And, well, it's got him at least 1 kill. It's a start.
You've got 3 DPS on the field now with the Iyari coming out there. But once again, these nades are going to be so important for Drummer to land, and the sleeps have to be huge as well.
Speaking of nades, it's Silhouette who lands the big bio, and Necc, yeah, just cannot back up to the corner in time. Well played here from the Lobos as they isolate the main target of Necc, and everybody focuses them down.
I mean, that was a beautiful bubble from Faraday as well. Just the 9 resources coming in. Yep, yeah. That was perfectly played from them. So nice follow-up, nice fight win, greatly planned. And now you've got this pylon. Bozeman is pretty darn near unkillable. Same thing with Keygator while they have the biotic field up.
Look at how Lobos are positioned as they've just surrounded the objective. Is the capping point here for point B. Faraday took a couple of early shots, is trying to hide away. Nano Boost was used onto Karama, though, and they've already chopped through. Izu Legend just ended that overclock very prematurely. Depresso's still on the outside, though, with Attack Visor ready to go. This lone DPS from the defensive NM State. Desperate to find something here with this ultimate. Tried to aim for the high ground, but Faraday's just going to jump right in front of it. The Nano Boost onto the Reinhardt will force the Winston all the way back, even gets the bubble out. NM State have bought themselves some room, but not any eliminations on the back of it. Shatter down through the cart is not enough. Karama was already dancing around you as the Shatter gets nothing. Zilch. Lobos are moments away from this cap.
Yep, and I mean, they're going to do it with 30-ish seconds on the clock. So 2:02 as they enter the Foundry. We'll see if there's changes coming through. Yes, there are. Depresso's going to use the Ash to get the high ground, try and negate what Karama's trying to do. But you've got repositioning from Faraday. You're going to have a take up on that high ground. Necc giving us their own Winston, so we're going to look for the nano engages there.
SB also making a swap over to the Brigitte. More accurately. Karama got stuck on the high ground, and they got a little stubborn there. That fight against Necc, so they just get melted by the Tesla Cannon. Faraday's trying to come return the favor. Finds himself surrounded. Got Izu Legend down low, but not enough to find the kill.
Great healing there from the Lobos, keeping their tank in the fight. They have the repositioning and the recontesting ability of this. Oh my god, this is so good. Coming in for the Lobos, and Faraday goes out of the heat.
Silhouette had to use the Bionade to save Keygator, and Faraday just gets caught without any resources left from their supports. And here comes an aggressive push out of NM State Crimson on the back of a good nade from Drummer.
Well, I mean, we'll probably have dueling Primal Rages coming up very shortly. Depresso, after that swap, already 75% towards Bob. This is going to be a very gnarly engagement with about 45 seconds to go.
Lobos have a couple of support ults to work with. Bit of a battle between the ninjas. Around the corner comes a captive Sun. Went into the back. I think that got both of the supports in the back line. Yeah, Jivey ends up getting melted down. But Necc decides to counter with their own Primal Rage. Like, fine, you're going to go for my supports. I'm going to go for yours. Dive in from Faraday with... Doesn't have a whole lot of health, but yeah, there's the Primal Rage to back it up, add another 1,000 to it. Kind of battering away Izu Legend at the moment, who has a nano boost, is trying to build the rest of the blade. There it is, but it's right as the nano is going to fade. Izu Legend has to dash all the way across to pick up that kill into Keygator, and it puts him in a vulnerable position that Faraday's able to take advantage of. Still, the Lobos struggling with punching power after losing Keygator.
And the rally is out, the nano, or the anti-zap, that's it! Wow.
Oh. I thought for sure they'd at least get a touch in there and that we were going to have this prolonged overtime fight between our two teams. I in no way anticipate that to end right then and right there. NM State absolutely evict the Lobos off of the point. University of New Mexico was looking so good, Billy. Like, looking so dominant for the beginning of that.
I mean, it took them a minute to get the point cap. It was a really waiting for ultimates to come up because the fights were so decisively won from the Aggies that the Lobos just didn't have anywhere to go. I mean, there was great counterplay here through the streets and into the Foundry, but I think that the biggest kicker here was the Nanoblade that came out from New Mexico State. It took Keygator out of the tack visor, and then they didn't have any punching power after that. You see Jivey put out the rally, keeping everybody nice and sturdy. That flail, I think, is what kept Faraday off the point, and that's why we are where we are, and looking at a very, very decent push into the Foundry. But I think that Lobos really need to have a pretty sizable standing here on the first point. They need to whittle as much time as they can off this clock because we're looking at an NX Zarya up against the Winston once again.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I feel like the Lobos look pretty darn good once after they swapped to the Winston. Prior to that, not so much. But after the Winston swap, the Lobos really seemed to kind of found their rhythm a little bit, but yeah, certainly lost it there towards the end. Sticking with the Winston comp for the defense. Already on the objective goes NX's Zarya. Lobos are trying to look around to the back and find Drummer as they do so. It's kind of just hid in Hotel and then just Blitzkrieg sprung onto the back line. Kurama does fall in that exchange as well, so NX and company have to just sit back. Wait for a moment, but they don't want to wait too long. They've got to Genji down.
I mean, these right clicks are actually really, really good. What a
nice
engage
move
there.
Yeah, the bubble onto Ledge. It kept them from getting booped away from the flail. Brilliant move. And NM State absolutely capitalized on that player advantage they have.
Oh, and I mean, now we got a high charge NX. This is done. This is done. That's the first point that's going to go over to the Aggies. And I mean, one fight and you're done. Just a little over a minute. And that's oh my God, the staggers are going to be horrible.
Yeah, Silhouette's going to spawn in the Foundry, and they're not going to be able to spawn in the Subway. So it's going to be a long walk back here for the Yana, which means NM State can at least get up to Bookstore. They will not have to fight for Arches.
Well, and Silhouette has the lead in the nano department, but I'm worried that, not being in the fight right now could actually get that pass there from Drummer. There it is, Drummer going past with the healing resources coming in. Sound barrier is going to be online here just very shortly for Jivey.
They really wanted to hold that top high ground area, but just ate too much damage and had to retreat. So NX is free to move up around the pub here. Jumping in comes Faraday, trying to reclaim some of that space. Oh, what a Bionade! This Drummer just ends Faraday in a heartbeat. Nanobus comes out onto Kurama as they go into the back. No blade to speak of. Just gonna have to do it in the neutral and not having it. Azul Legend takes down their nano counterpart, and the Lobos are struggling for any purchase here on Kings Row.
Oh, Zulu Legend on this Genji is absolutely a menace.
Oh, I mean, man. What a beast.
Can we talk about the bubble management from NX, though?
Is
sacrificing their own bubble to make sure that their teammates are good and sturdy. My word. Absolutely perfect Zarya play. I saw your screenshot of your Zarya play, by the way. This is reminiscent of that. I'm very proud of you, Jeff.
Yeah, I've been one-tricking Zarya for about a month now. Genji Blade up into the back. Finds one. Able to deflect the sleep dart, and Drummer doesn't stand a chance after that. It's a three-piece when it's all said and done, and the Lobos find themselves a little bit of confidence, and it couldn't have come at a better time.
I mean, they get the Graviton Surge out, so that's
I didn't notice that. They absolutely did get the grab out. Holy cow. Where did that go?
I didn't see where it went.
Wait, no, that was the Disruptor shot I just saw.
It wasn't deflected, was it? No.
I never saw the grab. I never heard the grab. And you can't interrupt grab. Grab is instantaneous. It's not like Blizzard where there's a momentary animation that you can interrupt it. Grab is instantaneous. So it went somewhere. Never saw it. Didn't matter, like you said.
Well, they do have Nano Blade or a Nano Tack, depending on how they want to go with this. I mean, you'll have the Tack Visor, so it just depends how they do it.
Yeah, it's going to be an Overclock versus a Nano Blade. It looks like the Nano Blade's winning out to start as Keygator gets cut in two. Rama will eventually fall as well. No DPS here for the defense, and it's a 4v3. Azul Legend, who has been a legend throughout this map thus far, moves in to clean up the 3 remaining defenses. But Faraday's popped a Primal Rage, buys some time for these reinforcements to return. Sound Barrier out from NM State allows them to get super aggressive into the back. In fact, they just turned all their attention on to the nanoed Faraday. Faraday gets slapped, and everybody's like, no, let's get this Brig off of the point. Brig is able to back out. Faraday's back on their feet, and the Lobos continue to hold. Kurama does eventually fall as Attack Visor, the only online for either team, is pressed here on the very back end of the fight, and Depressa will save the point here for NM State.
Oh man, so good. So good for them. And they're going to have, what, 3.5? Yeah, 345 going into the Foundry. Late kill there onto Faraday. It's going to give them some room. Yeah, I got to get the payload moving. And now you're going to have another nano online. You're going to have the Graviton Surge as well. Nothing really close other than a Blade for Kurama. Kurama needs to build this up in a fast minute.
Faraday has to hold this quarter. Like, you just can't give this up. You can't let NX have this space. And the Graviton Surge is ready to go and launches it immediately. That's going to get at least 3, if not 4. Suzu is used, and Azulu falls through that exchange. Bionade and Nano used onto NX, and Drummer picks up 2. What an incredible honor. Behind every great take is an even better support, and the Drummer Inex duo are about to win this map. Suzu out to try to protect Keygator, but once that's gone, so is the Soldier. Blade from spawn as Kurama desperately wants to send the Aggies packing, but they are entrenched deep here in the Foundry. Azul Legend is there. The Battle of the Ninjas is going in the favor of blue. Just should I say Crimson. New Mexico State win their 2nd map in a row, are a match point against the Lobos.
Barracks in, Faraday out.
Well, we did get some word, although I'm not sure how reputable, that Barracks could be a Zarya player coming in to match the Zarya from NX. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating heading into Flashpoint. That actually makes a bit of sense. I like the Zarya on Flashpoint. Just good aggression to get in and hold space on an objective. So that would be what I'm anticipating, but it's nothing more than speculation until we get into this map 3.
Well, I mean, we saw the NX Reinhardt, which was pretty darn good. I'm wondering if there's a Junker Queen, perhaps, in our future. And especially with the map pick that has just been shown to us, it's going to be New Junk City. So this is a brawlier map than what Suravasa really tends to offer. I think Suravasa is more of a mobility map. I think this is a knockdown, drag them out, kill them till they're dead kind of map. And man, if NX stays on this Zarya, and that's what Barracks specializes in. Oh, baby, I love Zarya v Zarya battles. I mean, the battle of the barriers will be where we join in, and then we'll see what the supporting cast around it will look like.
Really does turn into a battle of who can get more value out of their bubbles, be it a self bubble or protected barrier. So far, I gotta say, NX's management of their barriers has been top-notch today. I mean, I think back into that engagement on Point A Kings Row, where they used the barrier onto Izulu to prevent them from getting whip shot back. Like, very specific use of the barrier, knowing the one thing that could have stopped them in their tracks. So it's not just only looking for personal charge and trying to stay at 100 all the time. Really smart use of the barrier coming out of ENX in a lot of different
ways. I loved it. We noticed it, the flicks and making sure that their vulnerable person was taken care of. I think the most impressive one that I saw was right there on their attack when they were going in around the bookstore, and you saw Zulu Legend go extremely low, and they were anteed up. The bubble comes in, he gets into the pub, he gets the mega in there, and is back out into the fight. That was the most impressive bubble so far that I saw. It was just perfectly timed. It was perfectly weighted. They knew that it had to go there, and they got the job done. So fantastic stuff. Also, thank our prod tonight, Hippie, directing things, and Cinzia, one of the best in the biz, giving us these wonderful pictures out here tonight. This could be potentially the last map here for the Lobos. They are up against it. They are facing match point.
It's kind of do or die time here for the University of New Mexico. See if they can live up to the 3-1 billing. I mean, we gave them the favorites coming in. I mean, how could you not? 3-1 team from University of New Mexico taking on the 0-4 New Mexico State. And well, guess what? New Mexico State have doubled the amount of map wins they had all season in the first 2 maps alone here.
Well, we will see what happens with this. Little funny note here for Barracks. Plays competitive Castlevania games on the Game Boy Advance. So kind of fun there.
Okay. Can't say I even knew that existed. I did not know there was competitive Castlevania.
I mean, that was one of my games growing up playing on the Game Boy, was Castlevania. That was a heck of a game. It was a lot of fun. We'll see if this will translate over to Overwatch. I don't know necessarily how that works, but I'm trying to bridge the gap there. But you know what? Just a little bit more, maybe some issues with the mouse, I believe is what it is. But, you know, tech things happen. They'll get it sorted out. But I'm really interested. I think our first zoom in moment needs to be on the tanks. Do we see Drummer come out also back on the Ana? We saw them pick up a really crucial kill there in the Foundry on their attack phase. Just kind of 90-degree flick and just nailed the Genji of Kurama pretty easily. I don't have any kind of aim like that, so anything like that to me is super impressive anyways, but we'll see. We see, at least as far as what the spawns are showing us, we may get that Zarya v Zarya matchup that we're wanting.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're anticipating here, and that is what they have locked in currently. You know, I mean, that could change, you know, right after first fight. You know, we could get through first point and one of our teams decides to make a swap. Looks like we've got whatever mice issues worked out. Fortunately, we got that pause during character selection, so we'll have no bearing here on our initial rollout to grab first control.
Well, the thing I like here is Keygator on the Cassidy. That grenade could really make life trouble for Depressor and Zulu Legend. Also, the combat roll, 75% damage reduction during the duration of it. So that might be a way to keep them up.
Could help survive a pulse bomb. That's for sure. Zarya v Zarya unleashed here. The Lobos hoping this is the answer. Get back into this series, you can see immediately just putting attention down. Got Inex's bubble out early, and Kurama finds first blow. All attention on to Inex. Works out well here for the Lobos. They are going to grab this first one. And you know what? So far, so good for the Zarya look out of Barracks.
Well, I mean, looking at the charges, I mean, you'll get to keep your charge initially here, but 10% difference between the Graviton Surge generation. I don't know about the Depresso Tracer here. You're going to have to really focus down Keygator and watch for that grenade to come out, and then communicate that to the rest of your team as being able to push in on the back of it.
Maybe try to catch somebody out. I mean, Silhouette's able to get out of there in a hurry. Bozeman's got speed and wall climbing. Who you to lock down is a Tracer. It looks like Depresso's just trying to fight on the front line. Here comes Necc with 100 charge. Back them up. But an early Kitsune rush from the Lobos. Trying to get a bit of advantage, but it's a Graviton Surge in response. Lobos still managed to get 2 after losing 1, and in the 4v5, the University of New Mexico rise up and still manage to win the fight, potentially at this point.
Well, I mean, that's definitely going to do it. You might get some changes here. Yeah, we got massive changes coming in here for New Mexico State. We're seeing the Reaper come out here now. So there's some escapability there. Once again, very vulnerable to that magnetic grenade. They're going to go ahead and drop this point and wait for the generation of the next one. Yeah, they actually made a smart decision just to disengage. And well, we're going to go to Bomb Flats next. And yeah, I mean, you're going to have to be very careful with Keygator on this big anti coming in.
Yep, Barrick said, get some bubbles and cleans everybody there. Don't know if they have any left in the pockets, and about half health. And not really disengaging. Over the top is going to go in Kurama, but a perfect sound barrier from Jivey. And Izulu has one of their own. Graviton Surge from Barracks trying to lock up Izulu, and indeed does. But NX is able to find their counterpart when it's all said and done. And here comes New Mexico State roaring towards Keygator. Yeah, they could knock it out of there in time. There wasn't enough damage reduction in the world to stop that one.
And once again, it's on the back of a Bionate that starts the whole fight off. They survive. Beautiful usage of that sound barrier that came out from Jivey. And you know what? Bozeman put their zone out too, and just not enough. So great fight turn there. This is looking good for Crimson.
Flop to the Reaper. Working out thus far. Putting a lot more pressure down on the Barracks in that Zarya battle. Barracks already just turning tail. They find some safety to get topped up. Okay, they're going to loop around through this high ground. So they're going to take a little bit of a different approach. Rotation from University of New Mexico to greet the Aggies. And well, it was an interesting decision. It looked like Lobos found a better target and went and just collapsed onto Necc instead. Silhouette now diving into the back. We'll find that kill. Lobos should be able to flip this. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, I mean that's just easy for them to flip there once you lost Necc in that early part of the fight. And Depresso as well. I mean, your punching power is gone. So, I mean, you're going to have do you go in with, say, a Graviton Surge and a Death Blossom? It's definitely on the table.
What's a main combo? Going to be the Kitsune Rush start things off. There's the Graviton Surge from Necc right on the corner. Bubble onto Depresso, but they don't pull the trigger on their own ultimate because Zulu is there dashing through everybody caught up in the wave of gravity. You gonna get out, Barracks? You gonna get out, Barracks? At least gonna get their own Graviton Surge, but they will not be able to escape.
I mean, I think this is for fight planning now. I think that you just say, you know what? Okay, GG's, you win bomb flats. We'll take our chances with the next point. They might actually try to make a touch here. I'm not a fan of this. And Keygator's out on the Tracer now.
Yeah, we've swapped. Now University of New Mexico want to play with the Tracer. I think it was just to try to get a touch here. I think they can win this point back. Sound Barrier from Drivey should protect against this blade and against, well, no, excuse me, it's Depresso's Death Blossom. Just kind of forced everybody from the Lobos into the welcoming arms of the rest of the squad. New Mexico State will tie us up here on this map.
Yep, and I mean, they've got Nano Blade available for the next fight. Barracks does have their Graviton Surge, so that can actually shut down that combo. And now we're going to head off to the junkyard next. And Sound Barrier, big advantage there for the Lobos. They've got the ultimates here to really take this fight to the Aggies. It just depends on, can they get in fight in the neutral, or do they have to actually pop them?
Well, with this back high ground, I think this is the most important objective to arrive at first, so you can set up back here. It makes it so difficult for the opponent to get to you. So despite several ultimates online for the Lobos, I think they've got a real uphill battle to try to win this point. Necc is going to drop down to make sure there's some point presence. Rama trying to take advantage of that fact and go jump on the Ana, but Drummer has a nade on themselves, staying alive, and eventually Kurama works around the outside to find that angle. Drummer down. Means there's not enough left here for Necc to hold court on the objective. Now, Izulu picked up 2, but they have just a sliver of health left. Barracks is there to clean it up.
But they did invest the Graviton Surge, so that's a big win condition off the table now for the Lobos. And we'll see this Nano Blade being, it's big. We'll see the Nano Blade probably invested into this fight. I want to see where Depresso goes. Do you wraith around the back of it? Do you try to lock up? Do you try to finish off any low value targets? There it goes.
That's a Nano Blade out here from Azulu. And tried to jump onto the supports. Okay, eventually, nice little patience to wait out that Zarya bubble and make sure they can secure the kill onto Bozeman. Well played from Azulu.
Yeah,
like we shouldn't expect anything less from this Genji at this point, Billy.
Nah. I mean, they're playing absolutely out of their mind today. Graviton Surge, Sound Barrier ready to go into this fight. They've got some staying power now, Jeff, but they're going up against a Pulse Bomb. Barrier is going to be very, very high on premium list here for Necc in this next fight.
I mean, no defense against the Pulse Bomb outside of a good bubble. They can get done. Running in the back really wants Drummer. Drummer's the ideal target. Okay, they've been found out! Azulu gets him with the combo. Kurama gets swept out a blade! They keep trying to go after Drummer, and Drummer's not having any of it. Yeah, Drummer's eventually out of the fight, but the Lobos, they use everything to kill one.
They did hold on to their Pulse Bomb, though. I mean, they hold on to that, so that's good, and they're going to go ahead and get Grandma back in the fight nice and quick. But, if you're Lobos right now, you have to recontest this point because you're facing map and match point.
Drummer's looking like MVP at the moment. I'm just saying. And again, New Mexico State have this precious high ground. The Lobos only have 2 ways in. Everybody coming up the front. Pulse Bomb lands. Drummer is gone. Keygator able to get that precious target they're looking for. Sound Barrier as well as Death Blossom in here from Mexico State. The Fox out of the point, but nobody touches! I don't know if they're going to win that one anyway, but that's a little heartbreaking, not going to lie.
I mean, they devalued the Death Blossom from Depresso, so that's, you know, at least
and the Sound Barrier.
Yeah, I mean, they really did make sure that they got that point, and it looks like we're heading to Refinery up next. So, Drummer about 35%-ish away from Nano. You're working for Nanoblade once again.
Messiest Refinery I've ever seen. There's just acid leaking out everywhere. Watch your step, friends. Also got to be aware of, well, Drummer in the back. Absolute all-star. And eyes on the Bastion at the moment. Make sure Keycater cannot get set up. Unfortunately, it means Necc did not get the healing they were needing, so they're going to fall. Big Bionade to try to equalize, but a Graviton Surge means Barracks is staying safe and sound through the rest of this fight, while Keygator feasts.
Okay, so I mean, nice fight win there. The Graviton Surge locks up Depresso. You know, you've got Nanoblade in this fight. Barrier, Sound Barrier should be ready to go for that. Kurama's coming up on a blade of their own, so, you know, if they play their cards right, we should be looking at about, what, 50%. If they win this fight, they'll get it up to about 90. Yeah, we should be looking at the fifth sub map coming up here if they play their cards right.
Still a couple of things for New Mexico State to work with. Certainly not a foregone conclusion, though. An uphill task. Oh, this is the best way to get uphill is just to fly up there with a nano at your back and a katana in your hand. Drummer falls on the back line, but Izulu is up here on front, demanding the attention of all. Ooh, blade from the other side, shut down by Depresso. 3v2 on the point, favoring it. Zulu is one of those three, which means New Mexico State will rob this point away.
I mean, great heals once again coming from the support line of New Mexico State. The big problem now is that Graviton Surge is ready to go. The Sound Barrier is going to be behind that, and then you're going to be dealing with a Blossom. So, I mean, it's going to be tic-tac-toe. Great fight win there. I mean, the Nanoblade gets the job done. Keygator might be the ace in the hole here, though.
Oh. Configuration turned on to the Reaper after the deflecting Genji. But Zulu goes down. Graviton Surge in from NX. Drummer's able to get one on the back of that, but New Mexico State are still down a player in this fight. Beck's trying to move in. It's about half charge, and eyes are on NX at the moment. You see the Bastion is looking that same direction, knowing how dangerous that Zarya can be. Must keep NX at bay. But off of that left-hand side comes Depresso in with the Death Blossom. Sound Barrier used as well from New Mexico State to try to close this out. Izulu is back. New Mexico State are absolutely in control.
It's going to be very hard to get a touch. That's
game. This is a 3-0 to the Aggies. What an incredible upset here today. The Crimson Squad out of Las Cruces, New Mexico, rule the state after this one.